We are excited to bring Sisterhood Supper back this year to celebrate the everyday women who are making a difference in our community through the power of food.
This is the third year that we have come together in this community, in the great Ward 8, in a space that was curated by us and for us to just celebrate our freedom, our liberation, and Black womanhood. So can we all give each other another round of applause for Black women?
How many Black women have felt alone in a world where you have family, you have company, you have community, but you felt alone? And so for me, I knew that no matter what my path of life was, I learned through divination, working with Malidoma May, getting into my own spirituality, that that is part of our healing, is to reconnect and be grounded. Bell Hooks says that to create a sense of belonging is to be one with nature. And so it was so important for us to not have this at a fancy hall, convention center, or whatever. We need to reconnect to Mother Earth. And reclaim spaces that once have been used in very toxic ways, brutal ways. And I knew that if we bring sisterhood together, that is a form of medicine that can heal us. Food is our medicine, but sisterhood is our medicine. And I need us to know that, to see it, to believe it, to feel it. And I hope in this moment you hold that to be your truth. And I hope you take that feeling into spaces that you go into of how do you reclaim sisterhood in a way that is a spiritual kind of sisterhood. That when a sister needs help, you will pick up the phone. You will not even think that a sister needs a hug. You will give hug. You don't even have to ask. Unfortunately, being in a colonial gaze, we don't always understand the power of it. We've been told to disassociate ourselves, to find individualism, to pull ourselves by the bootstraps, but we come from communal people. We are Ubuntu. If not for them, we are not. But because of them, we are. And therefore, we honor and welcome ancestors to the space, to understand that we are building on their legacy, and we are moving towards not only honoring the food sheroes today, which we are next, but to know that by honoring them, we amplify their stories, we change the narrative in our minds, and we give other girls and women to believe that they too can be a food shero in our communities. Because what we need is who they are, and we are them because they are us. We are one.
I just want to give a shout out to all of the amazing women in my community right here in Ward 8 who are doing the thing, like Tambra Ray, like my sister here, Jaren Hill Lockridge, who are committed to this community, who are committed to making sure that we are uplifted, that we have the resources that we have. And I just want to say, even when people try to malign your name, when they try to say that you shouldn't, that you couldn't, in God's word, you keep pushing forward. Don't let anybody stop you or block you for walking into your destiny and making sure that we, your community, is fulfilled and has everything that we need. Because just like our sister said over there, we are beautifully shaped by God, and He put you here for a purpose. Every woman in this room who had somebody tell you, you ain't good enough, what you say ain't right, you not the right complexion, you too big, you too small, your hair ain't right, it needs to be shaped, I don't like them cornrows. Say no, my Lord put me here as I am, exactly how I am meant to be. You keep pushing, you keep walking, don't ever stop. Don't let anybody tell you that when you are passionate and that it's in your heart and you know you've worked your butt off for this community, you, Tambra, Mary Blackford, who's over there, and some other women in this room, keep pushing for us, because I got a 13-year-old, and we need y'all to keep stepping and leading and showing them the right example as Black women, as sisters in this spirit.
By the yard, life is hard. By the inch, it's a cinch. So just take a step at a time and live your life. Live it for real. Yeah.
She brought back a memory of my mommy who made her transition 2 years ago. And she said, life is strange. All you have to do is live it. And she kept saying that over and over again. And I didn't realize that she was talking about, and I don't think she realized it, she was talking about Alzheimer's. And how she told me, this I don't want for you. So let go of anything that hurts you, harms you, does not honor you. Let it go and allow your mind to lead your life, and don't let anyone else's mind lead you, because when their mind is gone, so will yours.
I watched women that had the experience of life doing them versus them doing life. And so I needed to make sure that as I was healing, that I dropped those bags off and I didn't carry those things forward for my daughters and for my granddaughters. I wanted them to understand that, to the point that has been made today, everything that they need, every aspect of who they are and who they've been created to be was in them before the foundations of this world. And then life starts happening, and we start picking up these things and taking on these narratives. And if no one teaches you, if you're not empowered to understand you can release that stuff and you don't have to own it, then you'll just morph into whatever that thing is. And so being able to teach them and to love them to life in that way, I knew that I was going to not only begin to pen my own story, but I was going to empower my girls to pen their stories. And then I took it a step further. And so when I finished my journey of that season of my life, because as you know, there's a lot of ebb and flows in life, but for that particular journey, when I came out on the other side of it, the very first thing I did was I had a women's retreat for other women to come to sit at my table. Because what I recognized was, not only was this my experience, but women tend to walk through life and they tuck and they put away all the things that they think will disqualify them, all the things that they think that other people will judge them and keep them from being able to come to the table, sit at the table, and enjoy what's at the table. And so I created a space where they could come into a judge-free zone, a safe space, and they could be exactly who they've been created to be.
My grandmother and my good God and the ancestors that fought to be here, even though when they were in fear, didn't know where they were going, they made me the steward to find their seeds. They put the fabric of growing into my blood and my bones. So it was a pleasure being a chef, but that was taken away from me by somebody reckless throwing me in the air with their vehicle. And traumatic brain injury trying to tell me that I couldn't still have that skill, but guess what? God gave me that skill in another one. He said, I want you to grow it and then cook it.
We are not here to just know narratives of how men have reclaimed their own heritage. We need to hear more stories of women, Black women, reclaiming their heritage, reconnecting to their ancestors, going back to Africa, reconnecting to their land and their people and the language, and sharing that extension into the legacy of their children. To me, that's what real healing and reclamation and reparation looks like. It's not simply a check handed out to us, it's about healing ancestral traumas. And so part of the theme about from waste to worth and honoring our value is to know that food is not the only thing that has been wasted. We have wasted Black women's time, talents, treasures, and it has been affirmed by those who also have wasted ourselves as well. And we have internalized that waste. And we need to detoxify our minds. That's where real freedom begins, outside of our bodies. And so for this Juneteenth, we want to understand and embrace, we're not just freeing our bodies, we are freeing our minds and our spirits.